Coming up, traffic can be a nightmare in the valley, especially when you live in Las Vegas. What the Nevada Department of Transportation is doing to help your commute.
Plus, a new UNLV app that will help students have more access to resources. We have the details coming up.
And we sit down with the UNLV Police Department to discuss the recent mass shooting. Those stories and more coming up on Studio G. Good afternoon, Rebels, and welcome to Studio G. I'm Jessica Vargas.
And I'm Brianna Haney.
Police are learning more about Stephen Paddock, the man who committed the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history, and more about the horrific crime he committed. 59 people have died, including Paddock, and more than 500 have been injured. We do want to warn you that some of the images and audio may be graphic for viewers. Kristen Holmes has the latest.
Investigators in Las Vegas still searching for answers, trying to understand the inconceivable, learning more about Stephen Paddock and the horrific attack he carried out Sunday night. Authorities releasing body camera video from officers and revealing that Paddock set up cameras in and around his hotel suite, but don't believe the devices were transmitting. The ATF says 47 weapons belonging to Paddock have been recovered.
It is still being determined which firearms were used in the shooting. All of the firearms have been traced.
Authorities set to question Paddock's girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, who returned to the United States Tuesday night. While she's not a suspect, she remains a person of interest. Her sisters, who didn't want to be identified, spoke to Australian media.
She was sent away. She was sent away so that she will be not there to interfere of what is planning.
Even know that she's going to the Philippines until Steve said, "Oh, Mary Lou, I found you a cheap ticket to the Philippines."
President Donald Trump tweeting about the shooting, saying it is a miracle how fast the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police were able to find the demented shooter and stop him from even more killing. The president visiting Las Vegas Wednesday, meeting with hospitalized survivors and first responders.
President Trump arrived at McCarran Airport around 9:30 this morning. He's currently at UMC visiting victims and their families. In addition, the RTC has opened Las Vegas Boulevard between Russell and Tropicana. Tomorrow we'll explain the details behind Trump's visit to Las Vegas. Country singer Jason Aldean will not go back on stage this weekend. The country singer was on stage when the shooting happened. Aldean posted on his official Instagram account on Tuesday, describing the emotions that he has gone through since the shooting, including anger, fear, and heartache. He announced that he was canceling his concerts in Los Angeles, Anaheim, and San Diego this weekend, calling it the right thing to do, out of respect for the victims of Sunday's shooting and their families. In the post, Aldean offered his condolences, including the hashtags Stop the Hate and Pray for Las Vegas.
O.J. Simpson plans to stay in Las Vegas, the city where his crime of kidnapping and armed robbery was committed. O.J. Simpson spent the last 9 years inside a Nevada prison, a fraction of the 33-year sentence he received. Simpson left Lovelock Correctional Center early Sunday morning. While we are not sure of his current whereabouts, Simpson has expressed his plan to live in Las Vegas for a brief time, then go to Florida. However, the Attorney General for the Sunshine State does not want that to happen.
Yosemite National Park experienced its second major rock slide last week. The first slide killed Andrew Foster, an English rock climber, last Wednesday. The latest slide injured one park goer who has been identified as Jim Evans. During the slide, his wife was right by his side, but managed to escape without any injuries.
It came through our sunroof. but we didn't know it was closed. And we didn't know it was coming, what had happened, but it shattered, and the dust just poured in. So we were trying to outrun it. It was like, go, let's go. And at the same time, my husband reached up, and he was like, oh, my head, because it was bleeding profusely and hurting.
Sorry, guys, I can't see what's coming.
Okay.
The slide occurred on the popular El Capitan Mountain Trail. Since then, tourists have been asked to use the south side drive to exit the park to avoid the unstable area. Have you noticed more construction cones near the Spaghetti Bowl? Well, you're not seeing things. Project Neon is nearly 50% finished, but there's still more work to be done. Reporter Caitlin Knapp has more on the next step for the project.
It may sound like smooth sailing in this area, but Project Neon isn't close from being over. Construction cones continue to pop up across the valley. Project Neon is a $1 billion plan with many phases to improve the Spaghetti Bowl.
Martin Luther King Boulevard will now travel over Charleston Boulevard. And we believe that'll improve the efficiency to both Charleston and MLK.
As workers continue to make upgrades, Las Vegans are getting stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic almost daily.
I think one of the things that has benefited us is when the work happening, they can see the change before their eyes, and that really helps bring it home for them.
Now, these major upgrades are going to improve the commute for tourists and Las Vegans. So what's the next step for Project Neon? Well, they're going to replace the green signs with gantries, a new technology here in the valley.
The technology of these gantries will allow drivers to see updated travel times and closures. They will even point to an open lane if there's an accident up ahead.
Anything that can improve people's commute times tends to go over pretty well.
Project Neon is set to be finished in 2019. So what's next after that? NDOT says they plan to work on the I-15 near Tropicana before the Raiders make their way to Las Vegas. Reporting off the I-15 for Studio G, I'm Caitlin Knapp.
To stay up to date on road closures and travel times, Project Neon has set up a free app available in the App Store and Google Play. You can also follow them on Twitter at NDOT Project Neon.
Coming up on Studio G, it's starting to feel more and more like fall.
But how low will the temperatures go this week? Your forecast is coming up right after the break.
It's awesome. I didn't know what I was getting into. I thought it was just going to be fun, just me in a room playing music. And it's blossomed into something beyond what I imagined. Like, people just love it. A lot of people are eager and excited to be a part of UNLV radio. A lot of people didn't even know UNLV had a radio station, so I'm glad to be bringing that awareness to the Vegas community.
It feels great. It's a great accomplishment because it starts as something that nobody knows about. You get to build it from the ground up. So it builds your work ethic. It also gives you a sense of accomplishment when it's like, man, we made it. We did something. We made something that nobody else has made. So
it's great to be part of the student community and having to bring something to the student body with music, which is one of my passions.
I feel like it's giving me a voice, and not just for me, but for people who has something they are passionate about. And I just want to, keep that conversation going and let other people see what we're talking about here.
It's amazing to have an opportunity to play whatever it is that you want to play. It's also a great way to connect and meet with new artists, great people, just music lovers in general.
What's up, it's your girl Scribe Cash. This is
the Prince Madison. This is the Takeover.
Played by the Video Games Live Orchestra.
Yeah, on Twitter at Miles Low Music and Action.
Our Metropolis is a 30-minute show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV because that's our home as well. So looking at our Metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people, and I think it makes for a great program.
The show's name is the Rebel and Revolt Show. Pretty good show about, just someone who will actually talk about UNLV the way an outsider might feel. We talk about current events, we talk about politics, try to take an offensive swing with it. Sometimes it's hit or miss, and we talk about, the little things in life that everybody laughs about. And we are the Rebels and we are revolting. My name is Jameson Wilk and I run the Rebel and Revolt Show, and you can tune in at therebelhd2.com.
Now let's take a look at what is happening around the nation. DACA recipients need to reapply for a renewal by tomorrow. The program allows undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as kids to stay in the country. Those recipients whose permits are set to expire before March 5th can apply for a 2-year renewal. However, Congress has been given a 6-month window to save the Obama-era policy. Representative Steve Scalise broke his silence on 60 Minutes this past Sunday. The House Majority Whip has been recovering after he was shot at a GOP congressional baseball practice back in June. Scalise explained his femur was shattered along with damage to his hip and pelvis, causing him to learn how to walk again. The triple-digit weather is gone for the year. Let's get right over to Brianna to see how low temps are going to be for the rest of the week. Brianna?
I'm Brianna Haney, and I have your Wednesday weather forecast. We've been feeling some fall temperatures, but we do have a warm-up on the way. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Right now, let's take a look at our current temperatures in Las Vegas. Looks like right now we're at 68 degrees. We're going to have a high of 81. And now let's take a look at our picture of the day. This comes to us from Montana, where they just had their first major snow of the season. They broke their October snow record, and they've gotten up to 30 inches of snow. Now let's take a look at our 5-day weather forecast. Today we have a high of 81, Thursday 85, Friday 87, Saturday 90, and Sunday 91, with our low temperatures in the high 50s and low 60s. And now let's take a look at the Las Vegas Valley. Temperatures are in the 60s across the board. Our high is in Boulder City at 69, and our lows are in Summerlin and Centennial at 63. Today, the UNLV campus, we're at about 68 degrees. We have 10 miles of visibility and wind speeds at 3 miles per hour, so very light winds. You won't even feel them. Humidity, 32%. That's pretty high. Tonight, we have a low of 60 degrees, and it's going to be mostly clear skies with a dew point of 36 degrees. That's all I have for you. Back to you, Jessica.
Thank you, Bree. Republicans are defending the president's tax reform plan. It's the biggest tax overhaul in 30 years. The GOP says it will cut taxes from the middle class. Democrats insist that that's not the case, claiming it favors the rich. The biggest change that will occur is that it will change 7 current income tax brackets to 3. President Trump says it will protect low-income and middle-income households and not the wealthy. Democrats disagree. They say middle-class families would pay more taxes. Republicans hope to finish the bill by Thanksgiving. Sheriff Joe Lombardo and County Commissioner Steve Sisolak teamed up and started the Las Vegas Victims Fund. As of this afternoon, the GoFund page has raised more than $8.4 million. The new goal is $10 million.
Las Vegas is seeing a tight security surveillance this morning on the Strip after Sunday's shooting. The UNLV Police Department is also taking action on campus with recent incidents to make sure students are prepared for the worst.
With recent incidents that have happened around campus, the UNLV Police Department have finally stepped it up in creating a new app called Rebel Safe, which allows students to utilize the many police services at the press of a button.
Some of the featured options includes a quick push of a button to immediately call the police, or do a live chat with dispatch. But for those non-emergency issues, the report a tip option is available to submit written concerns, and students are already feeling very hopeful for the new app.
I think it'll actually help a lot of students. A lot of people that like stay late or have activities or have to like walk alone, just because it'll make it much more easier. And I think more people will take advantage of the services that we do offer here. I think that's a great bonus to the app.
Since the launch of Rebel Safe, the app has over 1,000 downloads already, and police say they are hoping to get at least 5,000 downloads, which would be a good representation of the population among students and staff on campus. But why create an app in order to keep students safe?
Most folks are on their mobile devices all the time. It just seemed like a great opportunity for us to leverage technology to increase public safety for our faculty, for our students, for our community members. And it's a great way for them to interact as they go about their day. So we're just trying to create those layers of technology, layers of security, so that you have multiple options available to you to contact us and for us to get information to you.
The launch of the new app came a week after when a student was photographed using the women's restroom by a suspect on campus. A year ago, another incident happened when a woman was attacked at UNLV walking towards her car.
This area at night is kind of known to be a little dangerous, just because of where it's at, and basically that's kind of why it's been causing problems for people.
Police kept this in mind when creating the app. You can use the new Friend Walk feature, which allows you to share your real-time GPS location with a friend so they can see your every move from point A to point B in one piece.
In addition to the new Rebel Safe app, the UNLV Police Department have also placed brand new emergency phone towers across the campus with brighter LED lighting and 360 live video streaming to make sure that students and staff are safe at all times. For Studio G, I'm Joaquin Lomeli.
For more information on the Rebel Safe app and the UNLV Police Services, visit unlv.edu/police. Coming up on Studio G, we sit down with the UNLV Police Department and discuss their part in the deadly mass shooting.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
As far as Studio G, at first it looks overwhelming, and at first it looks like it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you what, it's the most beneficial class I've had at UNLV to date, without a doubt. You get to not only develop stories and work on your interviewing skills, your editing skills, and your shooting skills from a camera perspective, you get to work on all the equipment that's in the studio. So you're working on audio, you're working on directing, tech directing. You get to produce your own show. You can take a 30-minute newscast and make it your own. And that's really cool about Studio G. Like I said, a lot of it seems overwhelming at first, but it is by far the best class I've taken at UNLV since I've been here.
Your community's farmers market. Welcoming, lively, friendly. A place where neighbors and friends come together to celebrate their community. With over 50 vendors, organic, sustainable, fresh produce are available just for you. Support and buy local at Fresh 52.
I really enjoy doing my show. I love all types of rock, and that's why I'm doing Rock Through the Decades. We play the 50s all the way to today's rock music or rock bands. I want them to get the appreciation of how much rock has changed over the years and how it's still really great. You can never kill rock. I mean, rock is like the way to be, the way to go. The name of my show is Rock Through the Decades, and I am Rockin' Gemini. You can listen to this on the Rebel HD2 network.
Welcome back, Rebels. Today we have Public Information Officer from UNLV Police Department, Paul Vargas. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, we just had recent events on Sunday night with the whole shooting. There was a huge response when it came to those in law enforcement, those in medical. During that time, did UNLV take any role when it came to the shooting?
Yeah, well, we provided a support role for Metro. So when victims and witnesses started to flee the scene or were evacuated from the scene, Metro asked for our assistance, and we brought them here on campus to provide them a safe space and for them to just get away from the scene and sort of get ready to interact with Metro. Metro needed to interview witnesses, and we needed to get people medical attention. So we used the Thomas and Mack as an evacuation point to get people in, provide safety and comfort.
And I know that CSUN had also partnered up with the UNLV Police Department in creating a 6-minute how to survive an active shooter video.
Yes.
Can you talk to us as far as like what students can do to prepare themselves if they're placed in that same situation of there being an active shooter?
Yeah, well, I can sum up the video in 3 words, and it's basically that's the emphasis that the video is for, and it's run, hide, and fight. Those are the 3 words we want everybody to remember. So basically, your first thing to do if you're ever in an active shooter situation is to run. Get out of the building or the area that you're in as fast as possible and get to a safe space and contact the police. If you can't get out of the area, then you have to hide. Basically, try to make yourself as low as possible, be in a locked area, lock the door, shut the lights, shut your cell phone. You want to basically not give the shooter the ability to find you. And at the very last resort, if the shooter does find you, then you might have to fight for your life. So you might have to come up with a quick plan with whoever's in the room with you, or if you're alone, you'll have to fight. Not too long, police are responding, we'll be on the way. Just take some necessary, whatever action is necessary to protect yourself until we get there.
And while being out on scene on Sunday, could you describe some of the injuries? Like, what was it that you saw while being out on the field?
Yeah, well, we didn't get any gunshot victims on UNLV. They were all evacuated immediately to the hospitals. We got basically anybody that was injured fleeing the scene. People were trampled. Some people got cut up or bruised as they were maybe jumping fences or getting out of the area. They might have fell down or stuff like that. And then we had people with emotional injuries, emotional trauma. The CAP Center personnel, psychological services, really stepped up. They came in. They were called and responded quickly and just tended to all the victims.
Now, when it comes to the UNLV police, I know the UNLV Police Department has an annual base training with the Las Vegas Metro SWAT team just to train for situations of active shooting.
Yes.
Could you possibly just describe some of the procedures taken in order to train appropriately for situations like this?
Yeah, well, we every year we do our own training here on campus specifically. And then when Metro conducts their annual training, when they have availability, if they have openings, they'll invite our officers to come and train with them and their SWAT team. So we train together, we get to learn their tactics, they get to know our tactics, and we invite them onto the campus so they get to know the campus if they ever have to respond here. And just we learn different tactics and procedures, how to conduct building sweeps, how to, when we confront the shooter, shooting tactics and things like that.
And I mean, with this incident that happened on Sunday, it was very unpredictable, and many of law enforcement have even said that, there wasn't a way to prevent it. Is there a way that, training would be changed to see how we can fill in the gaps in that area, or?
Yeah, well, whenever an incident like this happens, when they do the after action reports, when they do the investigations and they see, there's always new things discovered, new procedures, and they'll adapt accordingly to that. So once everything's said and done, when the investigation's over, they'll look to see if there could have been something done differently that they can incorporate going forward.
Okay. Bringing in guests over to the Thomas and Mack. Yes. Could you describe the scene when, people were coming in, some of the emotions that you witnessed from seeing all this?
Initially, we had people actually arrive on foot as they fled down Tropicana. They arrived on campus. Our officers met with them. We put some in the dorms. We put some in the Mendenhall Center. Then Metro officially requested for us if we could to open up the Thomas and Mack Center, because as they started to evacuate people en masse, they needed some place to hold them. So we opened up the Thomas and Mack Center, and they started bringing them over on RTC buses.
Oh, okay.
And, we just brought them in, and you saw, people, like I said, some had injuries that they sustained fleeing the scene. Others were just, rightfully so. You know, they were emotionally distraught. You know, emotions. They were in shock. They were traumatized.
Right.
Yeah, some people, you know, you saw anguish, rage in some people. Some folks were separated from their loved ones. You know, one man came up to us and told us that he couldn't find his wife. He got separated from his wife and he had no clue where she was. And then I had lost track of time. It was so chaotic. He came back to us later, elated, because he had gotten a phone call from her that she had actually, someone had taken her into their home. And, you know, we arranged for transportation to get him to his wife. So you just saw the full, you know, the whole spectrum of emotions just basically there.
Yeah. And how's the police department doing now? Are they still busy? Are they more calm? How's this setting for that?
Well, here on the campus, you know, we're operating on our normal schedule. We've put everybody in uniform. Usually detectives were in a plainclothes suit and tie for our everyday work, but the chief wanted everybody in uniform to have just a more presence on the campus, just to let the students and the campus community know that we're here for them, and to, you know, to know that they'll be safe now.
Right. Well, thank you very much for coming out and speaking to us.
My pleasure.
Well, that's all the time that we have. I want to thank Detective Paul Velez for being here with us today, and the entire department for their role during Sunday night's incident. It is a time to take a break and stay tuned. We have more news when we come back here on Studio G.
Evening jazz. I mainly play a lot of contemporary jazz music from the 1960s up until about 2012, 2013. When I go on, just explain who it was, the name of the song, the name of the artist, maybe the name of the album, their career. I just hope that everybody enjoys it and appreciate it for the kind of music it is and how great it is. My name is Sam, and I host Sunday Evening Jazz on the rebelhd2.com.
You don't get to do an internship, you have to do an internship. It's one of the requirements for a journalism major. You have to do an internship before you can graduate.
Definitely having an internship as a requirement really helps push yourself out there, and to just remind you that, you know, your graduation is coming up soon. You're going to need some work experience in your career. So it's really good to put yourself out there early on, and they tend to help students a lot more. So when you do a student internship, it really helps out a lot.
Oh, the station's great. You make friends, you gain skills, you learn how to do all this stuff with audio. It's a fantastic thing.
I can grow with everyone, and everybody supports me as well as I can support them.
I think it's great. I think it's a blessing to have this kind of equipment from the Green Spun family as well as the state of Nevada.
And it's really informative to see, you know, how a radio show really works.
Now that I do it, I have friends, I have people that want to hang out, and I get to play music a lot.
It's very good too, because we have all the top of the line equipment to work with, and students here that can help you out. So it's a very, very good way to get involved in radio.
Between computers, clothing, and many other items, the UNLV surplus store is full of surprises. Studio G reporter Michael Carmona takes an inside look at the warehouse.
Located inside the Thunder warehouse behind the Thomas & Mack Center, the surplus store takes various kinds of items and sells them not just to UNLV students and faculty, but to the general public as well.
We receive the items, we sort them out, we decide what's trash, what can be recycled, and what can go into the store for sale.
The store obtains the items they sell from the various departments located across the UNLV.
YT, all the old computers, athletics. If you look around, there's like the jackets, the shoes.
The majority of the employees at the surplus store have been working there from a few weeks to a few months, with a few of them even longer than that.
I absolutely enjoy it. I like seeing all the different stuff coming through and meeting people. I get to meet people from all over campus, and meeting people from all over the valley is
probably the best part of the job.
And there's some cool stuff that comes through here. Sales are fun to time, also very hectic from time to time though. But overall, not bad.
The employees go through a specific process in order to make sure the products they sell are of respectable quality.
Pretty much whenever someone wants to get rid of something old, they have to come to us because they're not allowed to throw it away. So whenever a department wants to get rid of like an old TV, an old computer, they have to bring it to us first.
A lot of our products are well tested, like computers and stuff go through the IT department, so they make sure they're functional and they do have an operating system and that kind of stuff on it.
The Surplus store is open every Wednesday and Thursday from 1:30 to 4. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Michael Carmona.
Thank you for joining us on Studio G. I'm Jessica Vargas.
And I'm Brianna Haney. We leave you with a partial list of those who lost their lives Sunday night.